the Compassionate Geek podcast with Don Crawley. Now, here's Don.
Stress, when untreated, can kill you. It can cause heart attacks, strokes, a compromised immune system, diabetes, and obesity. Stress can cause headaches, fatigue, sleep problems, anxiety, irritability, and anger. It can undermine relationships, both personal and professional, and it can bring on depression. Many of your end users, clients, and coworkers are feeling stressed right now. You probably are too. Some of your clients and coworkers may even be in various stages of panic. So, how do you deal with the stress of living in today's crazy, upside-down world? Well, there's no denying that stress levels are higher now than in recent history. The best thing you can do for the people around you is also the best thing you can do for yourself, and that's to learn how to manage your responses to the stressors in your life. So, here's how to deal with it. First of all, recognize that whether times are good or bad, there will always be some stress. Stress, in and of itself, is not necessarily bad. It's our choices about how we respond to the stressors in our life that really matter. So, start by identifying the various sources of stress in your life. Make a list of everything that causes you stress. Now, organize your list by the stressors you can control and those you can't. Examples of stress you can't control include decisions by government officials, actions of other people, the weather, decisions by your bosses or their higher-ups. Examples of stressors you can control include relationship issues, financial problems, and job problems. Now, review your list of stressors that you can't control and accept that you have no control over them. Your best choice is to simply let them go. Now, I know that can be easier said than done, but think of the words of Louise Hay, who said, "What you control the most causes you the most pain. Breathe in, breathe out, and let go of trying to control your life. I release the need to control my life." As a frequent traveler, I realized once the aircraft door is closed, I have very little control over what happens. I released my control to the crew of the jet, and it was actually quite freeing to come to that very simple realization. Here are some techniques for letting go of things beyond your control. First of all, be aware. Be aware of your emotions. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, whether it's fear, frustration, helplessness, anger, or any other emotion. It helps to name the emotions that you're feeling, and then once you name them, then you can start to deal with them. Next, be intentional about the choices you make in response to the stresses in your life and your emotions. Be thoughtful, deeply thoughtful, about making choices that will have a positive effect on you and the important people in your life, whether they're family, coworkers, or friends. Start by letting go of the little things, those minor annoyances that cause you stress, they can get on your nerves, but which in the big scheme of things don't really matter. Be willing to change. Some of our techniques for dealing with life are based on lessons that we learned as children and young adults. Those lessons may have been taught by well-meaning adults, but they may not have been correct, or maybe they were correct back then, but they're no longer appropriate today. Perhaps those lessons were modeled by someone we used to admire but now realize was not a good role model. We tend to believe that our way of dealing with things is the correct way or the best way, but that's not always true. Sometimes a reset is in order. Hit the pause button and review how your reactions to what happens in your life are affecting you. And then think about whether a different response might produce a more desirable outcome. Work on genuine, sincere gratitude. Try keeping a daily journal of that for which you're grateful. Review it frequently to adjust your perspective. Turn to trustworthy people. Choose your influences carefully. Avoid people who are dishonest or who just like to stir things up. Avoid rumors and gossip. Recognize that few things are permanent. If something is beyond your control, whatever's going to happen will happen, regardless of what you do. Next, review your list of the stressors that are within your control and write down the steps that you'll take to deal with them Think again in terms of achieving a positive outcome for yourself and the important people in your life. Now, once you've written down the steps that you'll take to deal with those stressors that you can control, start working on them and check them off your list. The mere act of simply taking action can help reduce your stress. Now that you've identified what's outside your control and let that go, and identified what's within your control and started to check off your action items, what else can you do to deal with these stressful times? Again, carefully choose your influences. Are you listening to opinion-based broadcasts that make you angry? Turn them off. Certainly listen to news broadcasts from reliable sources. I tend to trust PBS and the BBC, but stay away from random bloggers and propaganda types of sources that try to persuade you to believe one way or another or reinforce your pre-existing beliefs. If you have friends or associates that like to spout information, get in the habit of asking what their source is. Do the activities that bring you joy. Perhaps it's woodworking, auto mechanics, sewing, working in the garden, yoga, working out, reading, knitting, going for walks, shooting hoops, or something else. I play music, so I'll sometimes sit down at the piano or the organ in the middle of the day and play for a half an hour. There are definitely benefits to working from home. Now, just because you're practicing social distancing doesn't mean you have to give up socializing. Janet and I have a close friend who lives about 2 hours away. For years, we've had Skype cocktail hours with him on a regular basis. And just this week, we had a virtual happy hour with our entire family on Zoom. So even though we're avoiding close physical contact, we don't have to avoid contact. We don't have to avoid socializing. Check your perspective. We all have challenges, certainly some people more than others. And I want to acknowledge that some of you who are watching or listening right now are dealing with tremendous personal struggles. And I certainly don't want to minimize your struggle. Still, sometimes it can help to think of people who are struggling even more than you. Think perhaps of an immigrant woman fleeing an abusive relationship with her children, or a family just trying to exist in their war-torn homeland. Sometimes, when we reframe our thinking, we gain the needed strength to deal with our own struggles. As with letting go of control, be grateful. Make a list of those things in your life for which you're grateful. Focus on them. Look for things for which you can be thankful. And remember to laugh. Laughter releases endorphins into your brain while reducing the level of stress hormones such as cortisol, epinephrine, and adrenaline. Even fake laughter can improve your perspective. YouTube, of course, is a great source of funny videos, and I've included some recommendations toward the bottom of this blog post. Next, be flexible. Crazy times like these require us to be prepared for rapid changes of plans. Just roll with it. Help others. That's always good advice, but especially these days, check on your neighbors. Even a simple phone call to someone living by themselves can make a world of difference. So what can you do to make someone else feel better? What can you do to make someone else's life better? Do whatever you can while still practicing safe behaviors. And finally, do something physical, whether it's walking, working out, yoga, stretching, or something else. Get up and move. In our world in IT, our jobs are not about technology. Our jobs are about helping our end users do their jobs more productively, creatively, and efficiently. And if it doesn't solve a human problem, then what's the point? In my work with IT people, I help them find ways to show that they care. Competence is critically important, but what we remember is how we were treated, how people made us feel. Most of us can learn people skills. They're simply beliefs and behaviors that can be learned. Look, these are strange times. Boy, that's an understatement. No doubt about it. Everything feels like it's in turmoil. So try to be normal as much as you can. These are times when people get anxious about the future, and it's understandable, but there's not a lot you can do about many things. There are still, however, boring, mundane activities that need to be done, such as walking the dog, doing the dishes and the laundry, making meals, or straightening up the house. And if you're fortunate enough to have a job, there are reports to analyze, the various tasks of your job to accomplish, repairs to be made, proposals to write, systems to design, and budgets to prepare. You get the idea. Focus on the tasks of life to get your mind away from anxiety about the future. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with anyone who could use a little help managing their stress. I'm Don Crawley. What do you think?